Because this is the way I'm understanding the term. What matters is how you behave that demonstrates whether you're godly, whether God operates.
Okay.
What matters is whether you laugh at jokes that say you have a sense of humor.
Okay, all right. Okay? But now godliness, I think you are talking about Christian godliness. What about Islamic godliness?
It could be Islamic godliness. The godliness of the Al-Qaeda followers or whoever they are, the people that blow themselves up, they're very religious and they believe in God. And that's their God.
But they're not the ones who are coming here helping us rebuild.
No, they're not. They're not.
All right, well,
but they're clearly godly people, but they have a different God. You follow me?
But let me ask you this. Get back to the topic that we are discussing. Yes. How do you distinguish between religion and spirituality?
Well, this is a matter of definition, but let me get back to the topic I'm talking about, which is the movement, the transition that people go through. My grandmother, and most people's grandmothers, in one way or another, were religious in a primitive sense. That is, they believed something. She went to church. I got a picture of her carrying a Bible to church. She was and when these questions would come up in her mind, she'd just, I don't know about that. And she'd go back to just be, she was a primitive. And not in a negative sense of the word, but she just believed and that was it. There were no doubts in her mind. She was a primitive. She believed in Santa Claus and, that was it. There was no doubt.
I understand that.
The next level comes when the doubts come in.
Yes,
okay.
Which you
and
have been
either
through.
Flip in or flip out. Okay?
All right.
And then above that, and I've met people like this with every religious background, including many Islamic, they move forward into a developed sense of reflective involvement. So there's Southern Baptists that are this way. You can tell almost in 3 minutes whether somebody's like that or not, how they dialogue with you, how they deal with you, how they talk with you. They have their beliefs, but they respect you. They accept you and respect you. They're not beating you up. You do not present a threat to them. See, most humanists, most atheists and skeptics represent a threat to the true believers. Because
you're probably right.
You're voicing a thought that they don't want to consider. Now, you can get rid of an intruder in your house and your house is back to normal. But once a thought gets in your brain, you can't get rid of it.
Okay, well, let me just ask you this, because you are a member of a Baptist church.
Yes.
It says here that you recently did RCIA and became a Catholic.
Yes.
You are a member of the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association.
I'm on the board. Now, that was your fault, not mine.
How do you reconcile these things?
I don't have to reconcile it.
Well, I would like for you to try.
Huh?
I'd like to understand it.
Okay. I don't know why you won't understand it, but I'll do my best.
Well, because, Lanny, I'm sitting here talking to you.
I got thrown out of about 3 Baptist churches over the years. Crescent City, First Baptist, and another Baptist. I got thrown out. I'd go in there, and I would have these problems, and I would get in an argument with somebody, and I'd raise the questions, and they told me they'd have me arrested if I came back to one church, okay? About 25 years ago, when I first became familiar with you, I came to the understanding, and this is something I want to share with anybody that's watching here. Part of the stages of maturing, psychologically maturing, is coming to terms with one's religious background. Understanding it, being able to go back into that village that you grew up in and be okay with it, not have an argument with it. Every time I'd go to church, somebody would stand up and argue with me, but that's what I wanted.
All right.
Okay, see? But going back and integrating, if you will.
Okay.
So I went back to the Baptist church, St. Charles Avenue Baptist Church. I had a 2-hour conversation with the then pastor of that church about where I was. I didn't want to get thrown out. I'm not here to start an argument. I'm here because I want to complete this integration. After 2 hours, he says to me, well, Lanny, I don't understand. Are you a communist? Now, obviously, this man who had a PhD in philosophy wasn't understanding me very well. He obviously didn't understand communism very well. But the only thing you can understand is that he couldn't understand. That's as far as he got. I went through that process. I went back to the church. I joined a Sunday school classes. I want everybody to understand that I'm not a Christian. Is it okay if I come here? They went, yes, fine. The next week I'm talking about Baptist this, us Baptist that, us Baptist this. I said, wait a minute. Last week you said you weren't a Christian. This week you're saying you're a Baptist. I said, well, a lot of Baptists aren't Christian. They said, well, we know that, but we don't talk about it very much, okay? But anyway, I wind up being the Sunday school teacher of that class. We called it Mass, most adult Sundays seminar, or something like that, okay? Sunday seminar.
You must have confused those people a lot.
That's part of my job.
Okay.
To give you a confusion that you have to work out and you grow in the process. That's not serious.
All right.
Now, about 10 years ago, maybe less, it dawned on me that the split, how much time have we got here left?
A few minutes.
Okay. The split that happened in the quote, I'm really interested in church history. Go back all the way. That's one of my things that I like a lot.
Yeah.
The split that happened during the Reformation in the Christian church, 1500, Martin Luther and all that, it split European culture and civilization into two camps, the Roman Catholic camp and the Protestant camp. And there was a few people that kind of straggled in the middle there, like the Anglicans, never could make up their mind which way they were. A lot of people died doing this. But we've inherited, I say we, I mean those of us who have this background, we've inherited that split. So I decided I wanted to integrate. I wasn't going to wait around for the Catholic Church to come to terms and join up with, with the opponents. I decided I wanted to heal that. So I got interested in RCIA as a process that the Catholic Church goes through. It's called the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults. Okay, you go through this process. The nun who was the spiritual leader of this thing understood me. We went through where we were, where we'd been, and all that. And I went through the whole process and became a member of the Roman Catholic Church. I was memorized, or whatever they do, down at the cathedral with the bishop himself, doing that. Okay, I integrated that. I'm a member of that. Now, this is a very important point here. Does being a member of NOSHA mean that you are a secular humanist? Understand the question. Does being a member of something mean that you are something? If you are a member,
not necessarily. My answer to that is not necessarily.
You've got this real Christian mentality. You're not really this. I'm as much in your own secular humanist as anybody that's there.
Listen.
What?
You asked me the question, does being a member mean you are one?
Okay, being a board member.
If your question had been, being a secular humanist, does that differentiate you from the religious people? My answer would be yes.
I'm different from the religious people. But see, the key word here is being. To be something implies... See, English has this problem. Spanish does not have this problem. To be something implies something about you. A membership implies something that you've joined. You say, I'm a member of that group.
I buy that. Okay? And our organization welcomes people who may not be technically secular humanists, as long as we have much in common with all of those people. I
understand that, but we do not have a group of people who decide whether you're technically a secular humanist or not. The Catholic Church had heresy trials to decide if you were really a Catholic or not, and they burned you if you weren't. You join a Baptist. I'm a member of a Baptist church. Am I a Baptist?
Yes, but our charter...
They think I'm a Baptist.
Our charter for our New Orleans organization doesn't say you have to be a secular humanist to be a member.
Well, neither do the charters of most Baptist churches. All it has to do is say you were baptized and blah, blah, blah.
We don't have those requirements, but the definition of secular humanism would include...
You see, you talk about the definition as if there was some God up in heaven who decided that this is what a secular humanist really is. I mean, you really believe in God, but it's a secular humanist God. Because you talk that way. You follow me? You talk that way. The truth of the matter is...
People are entitled to define what their organization is. You don't need God to do that.
But you talk as if there is a definition that exists in some platonic heaven.
There is a definition of secular humanism which is put out by the Society for Council for Secular Humanism.
Right when I'm making my point.
All right. You got about a few seconds, I guess. Carry on.
Well, what I really want to do here is invite anybody who has questions along this thought, who feels somewhere along this path, to come to a secular humanist meeting, NOSHA meeting. There will be a phone number on your screen at some point, and there's a website. You can Google NOSHA New Orleans, and you'll find the website. Connect with us, come to a meeting, and you can meet, and you can have this argument out to your heart's content with me or Harry.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your giving us that bit of publicity, and I do want to assure the folks who will come to our meeting that we're open, and we have interesting speakers and interesting topics, and then we have question and answer time and a social time with coffee, tea, and cookies. And For some people, it is an opportunity to find out that
we do not
have horns and tails.
That's true. We also do not pass an offering plate, and we do not do communion, except we use coffee. So they're two things that are different from us in most churches.
Well, we have other differences. We hope that you will be with us again next week.